Okay, this is not going to be a spectacularly exciting type of video, but let me move some things around. I wanted you to kind of see how I'm going about and working on these sorts of things. And you can see here I'm working in Inkscape. I did some computer maintenance last night and made sure that I had some stuff that was a little messed up. I still have a lot more that I need to clean up. I am not a computer person when it comes to cleaning stuff up and doing things and making sure there's optimal running of it. Yeah, I usually just go, Baron, how do I do this? It's not really my forte. And since I've switched over and I'm no longer using Apple products and Adobe products, I'm using, right now I have an HP laptop that I got a couple of years ago on sale. I'm very pleased with it. However, I really would love to have a computer with some more memory. So yeah, that's not happening because in this economy, so I'm using, this is the icon for Inkscape, and you can see up here it says brown bedroom set SVG files. Now, SVG files just mean that these are the Inkscape. Think if you're familiar with Adobe products, and I am familiar with Adobe products, graphic designer here. Think about working in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I guess they've got a bunch of other stuff, but I have big problems with them that I will talk about sometimes later. But you can see here, these are all the files that I consider like my working files. And I try very hard to name them things that I will remember. And in some of them, I have Armoire 1, small, 2, bed, art deco. And you can see here I've used the word original and Poul. Now, the reason I did that is because some of these, like, okay, let's just go. Let's hit this one. Armoire large, this is a big file. Let's get this shrunk down. Oh, wrong way. Because this is a big file. You can see over here, this is the artwork that I am using. That is, it's based on another artist. I just call him by the name that he appeared to sign his work with, and I can increase this here. I usually gray them out in the background so they're easier to work with. And then you can see this is the main piece I was working with, and this piece here. I've left this one in. Sometimes I get rid of them once I've gotten things in, because I'm taking some pretty basic shapes like the foot and some of the placement here, knowing that this piece was meant to be a 2-piece folded piece of furniture. And in all of these, in the directions, because I went through and translated all the directions, they're in French, that you're encouraged, the child was encouraged to glue this that was printed in on like newsprint, which is really super floppy work. Think newspaper and paperback books. Paper. You glue it to a heavier piece of paper and then cut it out with scissors and then fold it together. And you can see it's really minimal instructions. It's pretty easy. You can figure this out fairly easily. I'm going to get rid of that right now. Well, no, wait. I want us to look at that. But then you can see over here where I need to complicate the holy heck out of everything. So while I've kept these shapes, these are the two, and then I've gone in, and when I say I'm straightening things up, it means I'm using my Katie Math and my little templates over here, and I'm making sure that this side is matching this side, because it's how I work. Yes, I could sit here and work with the math and do this, and this one's going to be this many, and this one's going to be this many. For right now, that just doesn't seem to work for me. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Sorry for that reflection in there. Maybe I'll turn it a little bit more this way. There we go. So you can see here, I've complicated everything. So I have multiple drawer fronts. These are going to be openings. I have multiple drawers. I have pieces that are going to go in, that have to go in to stabilize. Because remember, over here, I told you in the original printing in a newsprint kind of thing, he wanted you to attach it to a stiffer piece of paper or cardboard, then cut it out. So in lieu of that, I've added these. So, let's see. I'm just going to save that, and then I want to open another piece. We're going back in here. Now, what I've started doing, because I'm going back and forth between this, because this is like where I've written all my notes. Because when I say I'm taking notations, I'm writing down the things that need to change. This to me is kind of, how do I put it? It's easier, it's much less overwhelming when it's on a card like this. And I told you I've got the corresponding number on the piece that I'm working, and I can go through and check these things off, or sometimes just reassess and go, you know what, I really don't need to do this one or that one. I was just, but then from here, I also make notations within the files themselves. Let's come down here. Okay, this one I just finished up yesterday. And when it's finished up, I know it's finished because when I open the document, or it's close to being finished, the layout will be something like this. You saw the armoire was similar, where I've got pieces here, and then I've got a lot of weird little bits of color and things over here. Oh, come on, I didn't want that. And these are all of the pieces that I drop in. This is how I measure how big something is, what the parameters here are from here to here. And I think I've talked about that. Sometimes I take it to the line, sometimes it goes over. I just keep it the same. And one of the reasons why I don't delete these pieces until I'm completely ready to print is because sometimes I need to go back in and check. And yesterday I went through and checked all of this, rechecked the drawers to make sure the drawer boxes were all the right size, because I'm trying very hard to, within this you can see that's a drawer front. This is the opening that I will cut. This drawer needs to fit in there, and I'm trying really hard to make sure that the drawers are fitting snugly. I would rather err on the side of these being a bit large, because you can trim them down very easily, so that, and I need to add, I accidentally took the ones out with the little drawer pull things on there, the little indicators, the little dots, so that if you want to make this, but you don't want to make the drawers, you just want to make the simple one that is this piece and this piece and a bottom piece, so it's a 3-piecer, and you don't want to mess with that, you can totally do it, which I think is absolutely fine. You do you. Then let's see, open. So this one's close to being done, but let's come down here. Okay, close to being done. This one's pretty much done. I did some other stuff. Okay, let's do it with the bench seat. Okay, this is the piece that you saw yesterday that I had. This is the 7th version of the bench seat. Come on. Sometimes the little arrow doesn't change. And I know that when I look at something and I see this, all of this, and this, that I am nowhere near done with this yet. I do know that I went in yesterday and I made sure, it's kind of an optical illusion, that this piece that's going to be flipped and glued for the back, this looks like it's too small and this looks like it's too big, but you have to take into account that you will cut this out and not cut this bit out, flip it, glue it, and then cut it out. So I made sure that was correct. I looked again at some of the pieces that were for reference, and I think I need to add some trim work to the back and maybe some trim work to these side pieces. I need to straighten up the lines, which means I need to go in and make sure everything is vertical and horizontal that needs to be vertical and horizontal. These curves are all exactly the same because I drew several of them, picked the one that I liked the best, and then just placed it in here. Because a lot of these pieces that have, let's ungroup this one. Okay. This piece right here, if I just Control-C-V, this is what I get. Oh, I love Control-Z. So, in essence, I draw this once, get it the way that I want it, and then come up here and just flip it. So I know that I've done all of this stuff over here and this will match. This side, these sides are a little bit more complicated. I'm trying to figure out exactly how far down I want to take these. I don't think I want to take these down to the point. I think I'm going to move them up each like 2 millimeters because I think it'll be structurally better. And these sorts of points where things meet like this drive me nuts. Oh my God, they drive me nuts. It's the Wilma in me that's like, this needs to be fixed so it looks right. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, there needs to be some kind of trim work because I was like, do I want to do like an inset here with some trim going around? Do I want to do trim work that goes here and all the way across? That sort of thing. Okay, let's get rid of that. So you can see, okay, open, where to go? Some things are in process. I'm trying to find where to go. There's the dressing table, which really needs some sustained, like an entire day. And I know that there are those who are much faster at this and can work these things much faster. But I'm not. This will take an entire day for me to go through and make sure that everything, like you can see here, I'm still, when I see these on the actual piece, the paper, the working surface, I know I'm nowhere near the end. I know that I still need to go in and fix a lot of things. I can see here that this is still messed up and I need to pull these in and fix them. These are in the wrong place. I do know I went through and did the drawers, but I can see that there's some, you can see here and here, you know, I may not be really super speedy with this thing, but I think I have this habit of with these pieces doing a flip. You saw me do it in the last one. So, ungroup, I think I drew this all in one. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll draw these pieces right here where my arrow is in separate pieces, especially if I did that with the armoire because I had a lot of drawers that I needed to fit. So I could quickly change these lines and these pieces by flipping them around. And in this one, I didn't do that. So I know that needs to be cleaned up. This needs to be sorted out. Like some things like the mirror pattern piece I've already dropped in. You're not sure the curvy side. Do I want to use this? Do I want to use something more curvy? Yeah. So this piece is like, this needs an entire day for me to work on it. Let's see. Then we have, that's dressing table original. Then this piece, which I built, but I'm not going to use for this. I'm going to use it somewhere else. You can see here where I've kind of started messing around with, do I want to put a more open back on it, etc. So that's kind of where I am with reference to what I'm working on via computer right now. I am also, let me see, I think I pulled this in here. I was having like some confusion about movements, especially, put this way so you can actually see it, and then flip this around so you can actually see it. And these are super rough because I know Art Deco really kind of started in the 1910s, kind of started swimming that way because all of these things are Deco. But then there's a part of me that's like, there's high Art Deco and then average people Art Deco. But then there's also, you got Art Nouveau that originated in France, spread to Europe, all over Europe. And you can see 1890 to 1910. So as this is winding down, this is coming up. And then you have the arts and crafts movement that was started in the UK or England, which is kind of riding the coattails or sometimes swimming alongside of Art Nouveau. Because I am familiar with all of these movements and what the quintessential work looks like. And then you have, I just put the school years for Bauhaus, but Bauhaus, influences Art Deco, and there you can look at arts and crafts, and while arts and crafts is more of a return to the artisanal sorts of woodworking and such, and arts and crafts also, you have to, that encompasses, Wright, Taliesin dude, Frank Lloyd, sorry. Sometimes it takes me a while to get places. And then my own personal love of Dada, which Dada was kind of like, it exploded and then went away. Sometimes it's considered 1916 when it really started. Other times it's with the manifesto, or earlier than that. So it was done by the time 1920 hit. So these dates are kind of fluid, and it depends on the country you're looking at, whether or not it was there or what shape the actual artwork took in Dada. Was it collage? Was it painting? Was it sculpture? Was it performance? So these are all of the things I needed to kind of straighten this up and figure out where I was. Because I have love for all of this, like deep and abiding love for all of this. Dada and Bauhaus especially. I am Dada at heart. I am a Dadaist at heart. I love the absurd. I love bizarre juxtapositions. And maybe that's the reason why, being the Dadaist that I am, that I needed to figure out where each of these played in history and how they were influencing what I was doing. Partially so I don't sound like an absolute imbecile when I talk about it, because God knows I hate talking about my artwork in person. I do what I do, and I make it, and next. Yeah, I'm a treasure. Anyway. And you may have also noticed, if you follow Marielle, she made an appearance yesterday in her Instagram. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do there. Because, ADHD and menopause, it's a hell of a drug. And then the current state of the world, and Anyway. Oh, God. Thank you guys for giving me someplace to be, some people to talk at and with. It makes me feel better. So I will see you in the next video.